I spent 4 years in my first entry-level actuarial role, so today I'm going to spill the beans on exactly what I did, what surprised me the most, the tools that I used, what I wish I knew before I started, and also how to know if this is a good career for you. So first off, I'll start with a little bit of context. This first role was a group insurance valuation role. So group insurance is basically what you think of when your employer provides insurance for you. It could be dental insurance, could be health insurance, but essentially everyone that works at the company is covered under one group insurance plan. And then valuation is basically figuring out how much an insurance company needs to have in order to be able to confidently pay out all the claims that they expect in the future, all the expenses, and also make a profit. So usually I would get to work around 8:30 or so. I actually wanted to get there for 7, but I could never force myself to get up that early in order to get there for 7. We had flexible start times, so if you got there at 7, you could leave around 3. If you got there at 9, you could leave around 5 o'clock. Anyway, in this position, I guess there were kind of two parts to it. In valuation, you have to calculate reserves. So calculating reserves was a huge learning curve for me, and honestly, I would have loved to know all about actuarial reserves and exactly how they work before I even got into this role. That's kind of why I have as part of the success stack is learning actuarial terms and concepts before you start the role, especially because some recruiters actually ask you about these concepts. But anyway, I didn't know too much about it, so it was a huge learning curve. Basically, when you're calculating reserves, you have to take into consideration a whole bunch of different assumptions that the actuarial team has already decided on. So the beginning of every month for me would be fully focused around calculating reserves. And I'll get to what I did during the in-between times, but just to give you a little bit of context about what calculating reserves looks like, essentially I would have to collect the reports that we needed, and these were asset reports, so a listing of all the current assets that we had in order to back the reserves. So basically, whenever an insurance company has money in order, like a reserve, you can think of it kind of like a pot of money. That pot of money is invested into different assets. So when you're doing valuation, you need to know what assets the company has. And then you also need the claims, the current claims that are in progress. So this is long-term disability insurance, meaning these people are going to be disabled for who knows how long, but they're probably getting monthly payments that are equal amounts every single month until they go off of disability. So we'd collect all those reports, and in actuarial data, there is a lot of messy stuff going on. So it actually took quite a while to reconcile all these reports and make sure that everything seemed reasonable before we could even start the valuation process. So I'd have to, at first, at least when I first started this role, it was a very manual process. So I'd have to go through, check to make sure everything seemed reasonable within each set of data. And then I'd also compare to previous months. And I think this is something really important to take away. When you're working with actuarial data, you can never just assume it is right. You always have to have some sort of baseline, something to compare to make sure that the information in that data seems reasonable. So once I went through all of that, I would have to put this information, it's all done in Excel, by the way. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I later on automated this process. So like I said, it was done manual at first, but I love efficiency and I love programming. So I went ahead and created a VBA macro that would essentially do all the checks within a minute, probably, maybe even less. Honestly, VBA saved me so many times in actuarial work because I was constantly automating things. So that is really one of the reasons I highly recommend you know how to use VBA or some sort of programming language so that you can automate, or at least you know what is possible, because you'll use it quite a bit in your actuarial work. Pretty much any role I expect. Anyway, so once we had all the data ready to go, we would put all this into our actuarial modeling software. So this modeling software is essentially what we use to calculate the reserves. It would take all the claims information and it would be able to use the assumptions that were in the model, maybe things like disability rate, so recovery rate, so the likelihood that someone recovers. It would take into consider interest rates, expenses, all these different assumptions that have been set up, and there are a lot of them. It would take all the current claims that are currently active, and it would project the expected number of payments, or the expected payments that we would need to make in the future, expected expenses, and each month an insurance company expects a little bit of profit. So it would project all of that into the future too, and then it would bring it all back to time zero using the discount rates, and that would be your reserve. It's a very, very complex calculator is what you can think of an actuarial modeling software is. So once it output the results, I'd have to verify it for reasonability. I'd have to see whether reserves went up or down, and then be able to explain why they went up or down. So yeah, I guess that's another big learning, is always be able to explain your results. Make sure that they make logical sense before you pass them on to anyone else. And that's may seem obvious now that I'm saying this, but I think when you first get into an actuarial role, a lot of the time you don't really exactly understand what you're doing. And sometimes you need to be able to take that initiative to talk to people to see what they were expecting, why they were expecting, why did it do these things. And that's how you really learn and start to understand actuarial work at a deeper level. Anyway, what did I do on the in-between times? Well, in between month ends, when I was doing these reserve calculations, I would be working on either annual to-do things, so things that happened on an annual basis, or projects. So on an annual basis, things like our appointed actuary report would need to be created. If you're thinking, oh wow, that sounds really thrilling, it is not. However, if you ever want to know everything about the actuarial side of an insurance company, that's where all the secrets are. Another thing that I did on an annual basis was the assumption changes. So our actuarial modeling software has a whole bunch of assumptions built into it, but those need to be adjusted on an ongoing basis, so on an annual basis, in order to make sure that they still meet the expectation of what is going to happen in the future. So we might do experience studies in order to figure out if what we were assuming was in line with what actually happened. So comparing what actually happened in the year to what we thought would happen. And if not, then that indicates that we might need to change that assumption, and it might give us some indication to what that assumption should be. But in doing that, you also need to calculate the impact that each change has on the reserves, and you may also need to make some more complex model changes depending on what the change is. So it can be pretty time consuming. Now, in between all the annual and monthly stuff was really when I got to do the things that I thought were the most fun, because they were different. I really liked the project work. Not that I didn't like the repetitive work. I loved automating a lot of it. That was one of my favorite things about the repetitive work, because it can be automated more easily. But in between that automated, or that repetitive stuff, was the project work. So some of the most fun projects, I think, were when we updated our earnings by source report. So essentially, an earnings by source report breaks down exactly how the insurance company made money or lost money. So there's always going to be various different impacts to how much a company makes or loses. So there's a whole bunch of different contributing factors, and the EBS, or the earnings by source, would break it down into those contributing factors in order to tell management where things went well and maybe where they did not go so well. But the EBS process that we put in place allowed us to more accurately break down the different earnings using our actuarial modeling software. So that was a really fun process. Another project that I really enjoyed was assessing a potential business acquisition. So for this one, we had to assess what kind of policies this different business had, and we actually had to create those policies in our actuarial modeling software. So this was really fun because I was building policies up from scratch, which is something I had never done before. I was responsible right from the beginning, from creating all of it, and putting it into one model with probably 3 or 4 different types of policies. And it was a really big learning experience to see all the different assumptions that go into this and all the finicky little things that you have to do in an actuarial modeling software to get the results to output as you want them and to get those policies to show up in the modeling software as you want to. So I really love that project for that reason. And I also got some introduction to different type of insurance. It was still group insurance, but it was sort of different than the long-term disability insurance that I had typically been dealing with. So I really loved that. And another part about this is that it actually got me to incorporate a lot of what I had learned in my bookkeeping position, because bookkeeping was something I did as a stepping stone position prior to this role. I actually still do the bookkeeping now. There's also one other thing that I didn't expect to be doing in my first 4 years as an entry-level actuary, and that was managing an intern. So I had the opportunity to act as a manager for one of our new interns. This was about 3 years into my role, I believe. And I don't really have too much to say on that, but I just think it's a really good indication of how much progress you can make in an actuarial work in a really short time. So leadership skills, even if you don't think you're going to be using those a lot in an actuarial role, especially in maybe the first 10 or so years, that's not true. There is so much you can do in terms of leadership in a short amount of time. It could be leading an intern or maybe an entry-level candidate, but there's also a lot of initiation that goes into being a leader and someone that comes up with ideas and wants to implement them and explains how they could be helpful. And even that sort of leadership experience can be amazing in actuarial roles because it shows that you are thinking about how to make things better, or you're thinking about what could go wrong and how to fix it ahead of time. So you're being proactive, and that's a really great quality to have in an actuarial role. Okay, so let's get into the surprises. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. One is that you don't stop learning in an actuarial role. From the day I started this job to the day I stopped and decided to go full in on etchedactuarial and help future actuaries get into actuarial roles, I did not go one day without learning something new, and it always surprised me of how much I still didn't know. And honestly, I just love actuarial work for that because it is a never-ending, a never-ending atmosphere, environment of things that you don't know and you could learn. I love that about it. Another surprise was that you are essentially problem solving all day long, which I love doing, so it really fit my personality really well. Yeah, I love it until I have to stay an hour late to find one teeny tiny error in a spreadsheet. Another surprise is how big of an impact your manager could be. I had internships along the way, but my entry-level position, my manager was just so willing to explain things, went above and beyond in order to make sure I really understood what I was doing. And maybe that's because I was a full-time employee versus an intern. But it made such a big difference in my understanding of the work that I was doing and my ability to contribute in a positive way and my ability to foresee issues, because I was able to understand how all the different pieces of my work were connected. And my manager was a huge part of that. So when you are in an interview, I always highly recommend you ask about your manager's style if you get the opportunity. How do they handle the questions? How do they like to manage their team? Because that could be a contributing factor to whether you want to be in that role or whether there's other roles that might be a better fit for you. In terms of the tools that I used Excel pretty much every single day. That's why it's a huge part of our success stack, is those technical skills, especially Excel, and a programming language. So I always recommend to the future actuaries that I work with to know Excel really well and also know one programming language. In this role, I used VBA all the time. That was for sure the #1 programming language that I used, not only in Excel, but also in another software, our actuarial modeling software, which was GUI Axis. So on the back end of that, you use VBA in order to program things into it. And the fact that I already knew how to do VBA or use it made a lot of projects go a lot smoother and quicker because I could use it in Access as well. Another thing that I used a little bit in this role was SQL. Usually just to get specific claim information that I need to look in, and I actually really didn't use it very often. So I would say for this role, Excel, VBA, and GGY Access were the top 3 technical tools I used. Now, what I wish I knew before starting, well, time management is a big one here because, like I said, I used to check back and forth with my email. That was a big distraction of time. And just in general, still is something I'm working on, but I'm just not as good at being able to chunk my time into appropriate amounts of time needed. That didn't even really make sense, but I always overestimate how much I can get done in amount of time, and I don't put in time or account for time for mistakes and problems along the way. Another thing I wish I knew was how valuable it would be to know more actuarial concepts before starting. I already mentioned how valuable it would have been to know about reserves. But there's lots of other concepts in any actuarial role that you can learn about before you even start in order to build up that knowledge. And if you are an AAC member, make sure you always check out the Terms and Concepts library before you go into any interview or any new job, because there's going to be lots of information there that you can pick up that you won't have to learn on the job. Instead, you can learn it before. Lastly is that you build up responsibility as you go in this field. I used to think that, actuaries, they have so much responsibility. How am I going to handle it? So much pressure for me to pick all the right assumptions and all these things that I knew actuaries really didn't understand it fully, but it just felt like so much pressure. Now I realize that these are things you work up to in an actuarial role, and also everyone contributes. It's not just you. It's the actuarial team deciding these things. Okay, so are you considering the actuarial career? Just because you love math does not mean that an actuarial career will be a good fit for you. There is so much more about your personality and about your career goals and your future that you want to get out of your career that has to go into this decision. So this video right here breaks down the good about actuarial careers, like the fact that you'll become AI proof, and the bad about actuarial careers, like the exam studying, in my opinion, and whether I'd go back. So if you're not too sure yet, not 100% set on it, make sure you go watch this video next to get some not so common insight. See you there.